So, if you want to get started in calisthenics but aren't sure if you have the time for it or what exercises to do, this video is perfect for you. Today I'm going to be showing you how to start your calisthenics journey with just 1 hour of weekly training. All you need is a pull-up bar. Dip bars are beneficial but not essential. I'm going to be showing you how the workout is split up, what exercises to put into your workout, and how to do the exercises the right way. So let's get started. First of all, you can split up 1 hour a week into 2 30-minute sessions a week. In the beginning, your muscles don't know the movements, they're not adapted to it, so they take much time to recover, and that's why it's beneficial to have 2 or 3 days to recover after each workout. So whichever way fits best for you, schedule 30 minutes twice a week. So this might be Monday and Friday or Sunday and Wednesday. Whatever fits your calendar best, just schedule 2 workouts a week for 30 minutes. And it doesn't really matter if you do them in the morning or in the evening, but you shouldn't be doing them right after waking up or just before going to bed. One mistake I would do early in my life, which I want you to avoid, is to overcomplicate it, to overplan. I would do huge plans and then try to stick to them and then just go crazy because I couldn't do it. Honestly, in the beginning, it doesn't really matter if you follow a rigid plan. It just matters that you do the exercises. It's better just to do some exercises than to know how many sets and how many reps in each set you need to do. That's too much. Just 30 minutes twice a week, and what exercises you can put in, I will show you now. So, what should you focus on? Should you do upper body, lower body, or push-pull legs? What about the core? Well, honestly, you could split it up, but especially in the beginning, it's more beneficial to do everything in one workout, to give your all and leave it at that, because you could combine exercises so that you have one group in the first exercise and then another in the second, or you even combine one exercise, so you combine 2 muscle groups into one exercise. I will show you some examples later. How I like to approach calisthenics is to basically first look at what goals do I have. So for example, planche, handstand, front lever, muscle up. If you don't have a goal yet, just think about moves you have seen which you think are cool, and even though you might think, well, they're impossible to reach, set that as your goal. It shouldn't be your goal for the next month or 2 months, but it should be a long-term goal you look up to, so you always know if you're working for the exercise or for the move or not. So for example, if you've seen someone do muscle ups and you thought, well, that looks pretty cool, maybe that should be your goal. The second thing I like to look at is not only focus on one group, but make it holistic. So try to focus on every group more or less equally. So if your goal is the muscle up, that means your focus is pulling, but you should still be making sure that you're doing push and legs and also the core, because long term it both doesn't look good if you just focus on one area, and it's not that healthy either, because you will have imbalances in your body. So now that you have your goals or your focus set, here's how you should approach the different parts of the body. So I like to look at it as upper body, lower body, and core. For the upper body, you know, it's basically push and pull. And for push and pull, I like to look at the angles. So don't just do pull-ups and push-ups, but really think about the different angles you could pull or push. So for example, for the pull-ups, it's a basic pull-up, or for example, the Australian pull-up. So you see you have 2 different angles from where you are pulling. And the same goes for push. There you have 3 angles. So you could do the normal push-up, which is kind of pushing forward, pushing away from your body. You have the dip, which is pushing downward, so you're pushing away from the floor. And the handstand or the pike push-up, where you are pushing upwards. And that way, if you look at these different angles, if you include all of them in your workout, you're already way ahead of 99% of the people. For legs, in my honest opinion, calisthenics is not the best to do, but if you're doing squats, lunges, and some calf exercises in the beginning, that's perfectly fine, and that's more than enough. And then I like to add some core exercises in between, so I don't really like to focus just on core, but it's still important not to neglect core. If you want to focus on core, you could start out with the plank and then make it dynamic. So start out with just the basic plank, hold it for 30 seconds for 1 minute, just increase the time and add some dynamic variables to it, so you really also work on the dynamic part. But these are many exercises, right? Well, the good thing is, while one muscle group is exhausted, you can focus on the next. This is what I meant earlier with doing multiple exercises one after the other. So for example, you could do push-ups, then pull-ups, then some jumping squats, some dips, and repeat. You can even add a plank or an Australian pull-up. It doesn't really matter, because really what you're doing is a split of 4, 5, 6 exercises that target different areas, so you can just do them one after the other. And you can make it even more advanced by combining 2 exercises into one. So for example, when you're doing a pull-up, after every pull-up you can do a leg raise, and that way you're combining both pull and your core in one exercise. Or you could do the same for a dip. So you do a dip and then raise your legs. So now that you know how to structure your workout, it is crucial for you to know how to do the exercises correctly. Like, what is perfect form? What speed should you do the exercise? How many reps? Many people on YouTube tell you that the correct form to do a push-up is like this and not like this. Even though that's right, they don't tell you why. But this is an essential part of working out. If you're doing an exercise, there's a certain muscle group you want to exercise. So it is important that only that muscle group is working and nothing else. In other words, nothing else is really moving. So that's why when you're doing a push-up, your body should be in a straight line, just like in a plank. Nothing is really moving but your elbows and your shoulders, because that's what's working. Your hips shouldn't be moving, your legs shouldn't be moving, your knees shouldn't be moving. They're just straight. Because if it is moving, it means that you're focusing the energy not on the muscles that are supposed to move, but you're focusing the energy on different parts in the body. And that's not what you want, because right now you're doing a push-up, for example, and your focus for the push-up is to increase the strength in your chest and in your arms, not in your hips or core or whatever other part of your body there is. The same goes for a pull-up. In a pull-up, you shouldn't be swinging. Your legs shouldn't be jumping up before you do a pull-up. Your neck shouldn't be trying to get over the bar. Your body should just be in a straight line, and the only thing that is really moving are your arms and your shoulders. If you want me to do a video on all of the exercises with correct form, let me know down in the comments and I'll make it happen for you. So now that you know the form, how should you execute the moves? Quickly, slowly, do many, do few? In my opinion, there are 3 easy rules to remember. First, the more reps you do, the more you're building endurance. That does not mean that if you're doing less reps that you're building strength. You're only building strength with a few reps if that's everything you can do. So for example, if you're doing push-ups and your maximum is 8, that's how you build strength. But if you're doing push-ups and you're doing 35 or 40, you're not really building strength anymore, you're building endurance. Second rule is quick moves for explosiveness and strength, and slow moves for stability and also a bit of strength. And the third rule is, in general, your eccentric moves should be slower than the concentric moves. So for example, in a push-up, when you go down slower than you're pushing up. When you're tired, you tend to do the exact opposite. You go down quickly and you're struggling to get up. But try to always focus on that. If you can't do it, that's no problem. But as long as you focus on doing that, so doing the eccentric move slower and pushing up faster, that's where you're building muscle. Now with all of these things, how can you do it within 30 minutes? I'll show you some examples here. First, you're gonna do rather slow push-ups. Then you can do some normal pull-ups, some slow dips. After that, explosive jumping squats. And then a normal Australian pull-up. That's 5 exercises, one after the other, and you should be able to do them all together in 5 to 10 minutes. In the second round, you do the same exercises, but you change the speed. So that means this time, instead of doing normal push-ups, you do explosive push-ups. Instead of normal pull-ups, you do slow eccentric pull-ups, so very, very slow movements. Instead of normal dips, you do fast dips, so many reps as quickly as possible, but don't compromise form. Then instead of doing explosive jumping squats, do regular jumping squats, but try to do many of them. And instead of a normal Australian pull-up, you do an explosive one. So you pull yourself up as fast as possible and then release yourself slowly. And in that way you have 5 exercises with 2 variations, which basically means you have 10 different exercises and you're targeting pretty much all the muscle groups. Now, as I said before, you can still add something like a leg raise or a plank in between if you want, but the core is not as essential to calisthenics as you might believe. And in the beginning, it is really important for you to see some results. So start with doing the push, pull, and the legs exercises. So now it's time for you to take out a piece of pen. Now it's time for you to take out a piece of paper and a pen to write down the exercises you like to do and really get creative with the execution of them. And there you have your workout plan, which you can do twice a week without worrying. And if you always focus on giving your best, you will see progress sooner than you might believe. But don't expect progress within a month. For the first month or two, just do the exercises without expecting anything. The only expectation you should have is not results, but that you give your best every workout. And in that way, you kind of will see results. But still, don't expect too much. So now I want you to head down into the comments and tell me, what's your number one calisthenics goal? What's the one thing you want to achieve? Is it a muscle up? Is it a planche? Let me know down in the comments. I will read through every one of them and I will pin my favorite one. So thanks for watching, guys. Really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like and also consider subscribing. And I will catch you in the next video. Peace.